It began as a seemingly ordinary public appearance, a moment planned, rehearsed, and anticipated by fans. But no one could have predicted that within a span of seconds, a single gesture would ripple across the internet, igniting emotions and sparking rumors that would dominate headlines for days. That gesture? A hug. But not just any hug. The hug. The one between Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun that left millions asking the same question. Was this their final goodbye? The event in question was a gathering of both actors' industry peers, a place filled with lights, cameras, and meticulously coordinated schedules. For most celebrities, it's simply part of the job. For Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun, however, it was their first public interaction in months, a fact that did not go unnoticed by their fans. The distance between them had been felt both online and off, as sightings became scarce and social media mentions grew minimal. So when the two finally stood face to face on that stage, the energy in the air shifted. It wasn't dramatic at first. They exchanged polite smiles, the kind they've shared countless times before, but there was a lingering quality to the way their eyes met. Observers noticed it immediately, an unspoken language passing between them, subtle yet charged with meaning. And then, without any visible prompting, Lee Min-ho took a single step closer. Kim Go-eun did the same. The hug itself was brief in duration but infinite in impact. It wasn't the quick, light embrace celebrities often share for the cameras. It was tighter, slower, as though both of them were holding onto something that was already slipping away. Lee Min-ho's hand rested on Kim Go-eun's back just a moment longer than necessary, while her head tilted slightly toward his shoulder. To the untrained eye, it could have passed as nothing more than a friendly greeting. But to those who had followed their journey, on screen and off, it was something entirely different. Cameras flashed, capturing the embrace from every possible angle. Videos began circulating within minutes, and in less than an hour, the hug had become a trending topic across multiple platforms. Comments poured in by the thousands. Some saw it as a tender moment between two close friends. Others were convinced it was a silent farewell, a public acknowledgement of a relationship coming to its end. The reason for such speculation lay in the history between them. Ever since their first collaboration, Lee Min-ho and Kim Go-eun had been at the center of dating rumors. Their chemistry was undeniable, both in their acting and in the candid moments captured by fans. Interviews showed them teasing each other with ease, exchanging knowing glances, and sharing laughter that seemed to belong to a world only they inhabited. It was the kind of rapport that couldn't be faked, at least not convincingly. Yet, as time went on, the narrative began to shift. Industry insiders whispered about scheduling conflicts, professional pressures, and the heavy toll of constant media attention. The two began appearing together less frequently, and when they did, there was a certain guardedness in their demeanor. Fans noticed the subtle changes, the shorter interactions, the lack of casual social media exchanges, the way their smiles seemed just a little more restrained. That's why the hug felt so monumental. It wasn't just the physical contact, it was the story it seemed to tell. It was the way Lee Min-ho's eyes softened as he stepped back, the way Kim Go-eun's lips curved into a faint, almost bittersweet smile. It was the fact that for a brief, unfiltered moment, they seemed to forget the cameras altogether. By the following morning, the hug had been dissected from every possible angle. Analysts compared footage, pointing out the duration, the pressure of their embrace, and even the micro-expressions on their faces. Some swore they saw Lee Min-ho's lips move near her ear, as though whispering something meant only for her. Others claimed Kim Go-eun's eyes glistened just slightly when they pulled apart. Theories ranged from a private joke to a heartfelt goodbye. One particularly popular theory suggested that the hug was their way of acknowledging the end of a chapter. Perhaps it was the conclusion of a personal relationship, or maybe just the close of an era in their professional lives. Whatever the truth, the emotional weight of that embrace seemed undeniable. Adding to the intrigue was their behavior afterward. For the remainder of the event, they maintained polite distance, exchanging smiles and nods but avoiding prolonged interaction. When the event concluded, Lee Min-ho left first, escorted by his team. Kim Go-eun stayed behind a few minutes longer, engaging in conversation with other attendees. The lack of a joint departure only fueled speculation. Fans across the globe reacted in waves. Some expressed heartbreak, convinced that the hug marked the end of something beautiful. Others remained hopeful, insisting that such deep emotion could only mean there was still something worth holding onto. The fandom became divided, not in their support for the two actors, but in their interpretations of what had transpired. Entertainment reporters reached out to both of their agencies for comment. The responses were predictable, carefully worded statements denying any personal involvement and insisting that the interaction was purely professional. But fans weren't buying it. The hug was too raw, too personal, to be dismissed so easily. In the days that followed, the footage of the hug took on a life of its own. Edits set to emotional music flooded fan channels, garnering millions of views. Posts pairing the hug with past moments of their interactions created an emotional timeline, as though the embrace was the final scene of a long-running story. Even those who weren't avid followers found themselves drawn to the narrative, curious about the bond between the two. For many, the beauty of the moment lay in its ambiguity. Without a clear explanation from either Lee Min-ho or Kim Go-eun, the hug could be anything: a farewell, a reassurance, a silent promise, or simply a rare moment of vulnerability in the public eye. That uncertainty kept the conversation alive, giving fans space to project their own interpretations and emotions onto the scene. And perhaps that's why it resonated so deeply. In a world where so much of celebrity life is staged, scripted, and polished for public consumption, this hug felt real. It felt unplanned, unguarded. It reminded people that even behind the layers of fame, contracts, and media scrutiny, there are genuine human connections that can be as fleeting as they are profound. Weeks later, the topic still lingered in fan circles. Every new public appearance by either actor was analyzed for signs. Were they avoiding each other? Were they more relaxed? Was there any indication that the hug had been a final goodbye, or was it just another chapter in a story that was far from over? Ultimately, the truth remains known only to the two people at the center of it. But regardless of what the hug meant to them, its impact on their fans is undeniable. It became more than a moment. It became a symbol. For some, it represented closure. For others, hope. And for many, it was a poignant reminder that even in the glare of the spotlight, the most meaningful moments are often the quietest ones.